Hey up. Back in 2013, an American academic at the London School of Economics published a short, whimsical essay called On the Phenomenon of Bullshit Jobs, a work rant. Now, this essay went viral and was then expanded into a book, but let's stick with the original essay for today. You can find it online. It's free to download, and I will give you a link in the description to this video so you don't have to use Google. David Graeber put forward a conundrum. He said that we live in a capitalist society. Capitalism is supposed to only think about the bottom line. So how come capitalism is spending such a lot of money providing employment for people who are basically dead wood? He was talking about, say, the human resources department in a large company. Human resources didn't exist last century. Human resources was a sub-department of the wages department called personnel, which nobody took seriously. Now, it's often the largest department in a company. At the same time, the people who are doing the productive labour are being mechanized out of work, and people who are doing the non-jobs, human resources, the job numbers are booming. Now, Graeber makes the point that back in 1930, John Maynard Keynes said that by the end of the 20th century, everybody would be working a 15-hour week because mechanization would just ease the labour process. Up until the 1970s, people like me believed that. We genuinely believed that the pension age for men, which was 65, would be lowered to 60. We genuinely believed that instead of working 35 or 40 hours a week, it would go down to 25 or 30. And then eventually it would go down still more. People did talk a lot about how we would fill the free time. And the explanation that's often put forward why people are not working 15 hours a week it is to do with that. It's that, according to socialist theories, if you give people more free time and plenty of money, they will sit around in pubs conspiring with each other against capitalism. I am not convinced. I think if you give the average punter more money and less work, he will just go and buy a 65-inch television set and spend his day watching Netflix or downloading the videos from the Pirate Bay without having to pay Netflix a penny. Nevertheless, it is a fact that productive workers are being screwed and unproductive jobs are multiplying. So, what's going on? Why is capitalism doing this? And if we expand it from capitalism to the public sector, yeah, take into account the social work industry and all those generic managers you get employed in councils, or the people who are employed in housing associations. Housing associations basically exist to provide employment for the people who work there, the managers who work there. So there are tens of thousands, perhaps even millions of people who are in well-paid, unproductive labour. Should I call it labour? They spend their time in offices, basically, having meetings, discussing the next meeting they're going to have. Why did this come about? I think, well, there are a couple of reasons that spring to my mind. The first is that whilst these people are not intelligent, if they're intelligent, they would not have gone to those crappy little so called universities, and they would not be employed in what is basically crappy employment. They would be in the City of London earning a fortune in the financial services sector, or out in Dubai doing the same but without paying any tax on it. So, no, you're talking about the not very intelligent element of the middle class. But they do have one advantage over the working class is that they are very good at conforming to a set of values in a very uncritical way. Now, the expression that's normally used to describe these people is bien pensant. Um, I don't like using foreign words in English. I think it's a bit passé. But so I shall use good thinkful, an expression coined by George Orwell in, I think, 1984. Good thinkful people, bien pensant people, are they uncritically accept the ideology that they are given. So they are told that Britain is, well, I don't know, a racist society. They don't think, is that true? They just say, yes, it is. And uh, they parrot the expressions that are needed to convince other people that they are good thinkful. How does this get them into employment? Well, if you're going to work in human resources, you need to be good thinkful because most of what you do is utter bullshit. And you will then tell people that you are, fighting racism in the workplace, fighting sexism in the workplace. Uh, Basically, what you're doing is making the lives of the fellows who actually produce something even more difficult than they are already. Well, that doesn't matter because you've got your nice, cushy non job, and part of having that non job is to make the lives of the workers difficult. Doesn't really explain why we employ these people. And this takes me on to my second point. I think they are employed because having this rat-like cunning that they do, they are very good at not just latching on to ideologies that are self-serving, but also helping to create those ideologies. So they go to their university not to debate and argue, but to find out what the line is. It's almost like being in the Communist Party in the Soviet Union. This is the line, and the party members were expected to parrot the line. These characters do the same. So by the time they're ready to look for work, they are perfectly in tune with the ideology of the dominant ideology of the day. Can this survive? I don't know. I hope it doesn't. I really would like to see all those little girlies in human resources being reduced to suck dick on street corners to feed themselves. The destruction of the middle class is just an essential for the survival of, I think, well, civilization. Whether it will happen in my lifetime, I don't know. But I am convinced that over the long term, this country cannot afford a large, parasitic, unproductive middle class. We just can't. Think on, folks.